Breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
One man is injured after an early morning shooting near downtown Raleigh. Coming up, what police are telling us about their investigation so far.
And it is going to be a hot and humid week later. Right now, we're dealing with the humidity at tolerable, but I'll show you when it jumps up to tropical and when we could see some dangerous heat.
And today we expect to learn more about a plane crash that killed 2 people near Siler City, what we know about the victims as investigators look deeper into this.
And one stroke, that's all it took to decide the U.S. Open champion. Bryson DeChambeau is the big winner. And this morning, we'll show you how he celebrated. And you see some of it right there. He's pretty excited.
Well, you went yesterday, right?
Drama. I was down there yesterday. Huge drama. I mean, it's been in its 10-year return, the U.S. Open to Pinehurst. It delivered.
Wow.
No question.
One stroke.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Chris Lovingood.
I'm Jeff Hogan.
And we've got a little bit of weather happening today. Things starting off pretty humid.
Yeah, this was a great place to be over the weekend. I'll tell you, temperature is close to 90 degrees. You can see a live look at Lake Gaston. A little bit of blue sky here. We're seeing some cloud cover in a few places, but none of those clouds are going to bring us any rain today. We definitely need it. And coming up, we'll go over just how far behind we are for the last month. Our dew point's at 64. That's going to put us on the sort of muggy end of nice. Temperatures are in the mid 70s across parts of the region as you're heading out the door. Looking at 73 in Clinton, 74 Rocky Mount, 72 right now in Southern Pines. Hour by hour, we'll hit mid 80s at lunchtime, and we'll see a high of 90, which is exactly what we saw yesterday. Now, later in the week into the weekend, we can see some dangerous heat. We're going to see the humidity going up and temperatures near record highs. I'll show you what that could feel like with the heat index coming up.
All right, Elizabeth, at 8:01, boy, things are definitely picking up in the WRAL traffic center. This just into our newsroom. The shoulder of I-40 in the eastbound lanes there in Chapel Hill blocked because of this crash right here. It's near Park 40 Place. We'll keep an eye on that, but you can see the traffic that's building and the congestion building in those eastbound lanes coming in from Chapel Hill this morning. So keep that in mind if you're getting ready to head out. Probably want to take an alternate route like Highway 54 as well. This crash unfolds of news in the southbound lanes on Strickland Road. It happened about an hour ago, not causing any problems in that area, but just watch for some police activity if falls of news is part of your morning commute this morning. This crash we're monitoring as well in the southbound lanes of I-40 near South Saunders Street. It is causing some bumper-to-bumper traffic going on there, a lot of slowdown. You're not seeing it on this camera angle. This is I-40 and Hammond Road. You can see traffic still moving nicely in both directions, but albeit slowly around that traffic scene, that crash scene. So make sure you keep an eye on that this morning. Elsewhere around the triangle, we are seeing some brake tapping going on at 64 coming in the Zebulon area, as well as the north and the south side of the Beltline. So keep that in mind if you're getting ready to head out.
WRAL is following a developing story. A man was hurt during a shooting near downtown Raleigh. Police were called to the scene near Jones Street and Idlewild Avenue. That was just after 1 o'clock this morning. And WRAL's Heidi Kirk is at the Raleigh Police Department this morning. Heidi, this happened not too far from the police department.
Chris, it happened just blocks away from where we're standing here at the Raleigh Police Department. We were there early this morning, and since that scene is cleared, but at the time there were many different police officers in that area, quite a large scene out that way. Now, what we know so far is that one adult male was shot, and that person has non-life-threatening injuries. That's about all we know, but Raleigh police have confirmed that there's no suspect at this time, and they are continuing to investigate. And as long as they are investigating, we're going to be pressing them for answers, and we'll bring you the latest out of our newsroom. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Today, we expect to get more details about what caused this plane to crash in Chatham County. 2 people died when that plane went down this past Friday near Siler City. WRAL's Laura Levine is at the Siler City Airport this morning. We know it was a flight instructor and a student who died in that crash. Laura.
Yes, Steph, we are here at the Siler City Airport where the NTSB investigation is well underway, but that could take several months. However, the FAA will publish its preliminary report today, which could give us some idea of what may have caused this plane to come down suddenly on Friday. I want you to take a look at the Sky 5 video over the scene there where emergency responders and crews found the Piper PA 28140 on fire in the woods near the Siler City Airport. Yesterday, State Highway Patrol identified the victim victim as flight instructor McMillan Abernathy and student Justin Strauss. Abernathy was a certified flight instructor for Raleigh Exec. This comes as several plane crashes have happened in North Carolina in recent months, all involving smaller aircraft. The FAA preliminary report will come out at some point today. We're going to continue to follow this story as investigators work to determine what happened. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Siler City.
Today, Boom Supersonics jet building facility opens at the Piedmont Triad Airport in Greensboro. In 2022, Governor Roy Cooper announced the $500 million investment from the company. It's slated to make that faster than the speed of sound passenger jet. It's expected to bring about 2,400 jobs to the region, this facility, and the average pay for those jobs will be about $69,000. Cooper plans to speak at today's ceremony, and that starts at 11 this morning.
In Johnston County, Smith's Farm Market in Benson lost a large part of its business because of a fire. It destroyed a barn filled with farm equipment and the nursery offices. The fire started at the farm on Sanders Road around 3 o'clock Sunday morning. The business owners say they are now focused on cleaning up. People from the surrounding community are coming forward to show their support.
They are precious. They are heart of this community, this place right here. Everybody comes and enjoys it, and all the cars line up.
And we're told the popular market, the garden, and ice cream shack were not damaged. They are still open for customers.
Today, the Wake County Board of Commissioners will gather for the first time since approving the county's budget. Commissioners passed the budget earlier this month, and it includes more than a $58 million increase in school funding. It also increased tax bills for people who saw their property value increase. The meeting is happening this afternoon at 2 o'clock. But before that, the County Commissioners' Public Safety Committee will meet. They'll talk about strategies to put a juvenile crime prevention council into place. And they'll also talk about a look at the challenges to improve the county's 911 call processing. Lastly, the board will also hear a presentation on a proposed federal rule changing how emergency responders operate.
The Selma Police Department says a person was hurt during a shooting at a 15-year-old's birthday party. This happened at the Richard B. Harrison Gymnasium late Saturday night. One person was shot in the arm and taken to the hospital. It is not clear how that person is doing. Authorities say a suspect has been identified and arrest warrants have been issued, but that person is not in custody at this time at last check.
Johnston County authorities are searching for a person after a high-speed chase. I want to show you video from the WRAL breaking news tracker at around 1 o'clock yesterday morning. A black car was being loaded onto a tow truck. You see it right here. Investigators say the driver took off after crashing near the intersection of Highway 210 and North Pleasant Coates Road in Benson.
This year's winner of the U.S. Open Championship at Pinehurst #2 is Bryson DeChambeau, his second U.S. Open Championship title. DeChambeau celebrated with fans after the tournament. Took that trophy right into the crowd there to share the moment with them. He beat Rory McIlroy by 1 stroke to claim the title. His other U.S. Open win was in 2020 in New York, and there were no fans that year because of the pandemic.
Today, Durham City leaders will vote on whether to adopt the proposed 2024-25 budget. The $955 million budget is up more than 7% from the current budget. It includes a 3.25-cent property tax increase for the rate, that is. It also increases the budget of Durham Public Schools by $13 million. The vote will happen at City Council's meeting tonight, and that starts at 7 o'clock.
8:08 on your Monday. Coming up, people are evacuating their homes as wildfires rip through California. Why firefighters are on high alert as they struggle to contain those flames.
In less than 2 months until Olympic swimmers are set to dive into the Seine River, unsafe levels of bacteria were detected. This morning, what that means for races supposed to happen there.
Hot, hotter, hottest. That's where we're headed this week. We'll see highs in the low 90s with some fairly comfortable humidity. But boy, it really changes after Thursday, the first day of summer. We're looking at highs near records and intense heat indices. I'll show you coming up.
(8:12) is the time right now as we give you this live look. Fenton and Cary, and you see the clouds. They're hanging around there. Maybe it'll keep us a little bit cooler for a little longer today as you watch WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. But we do know we are climbing to the 90s today, Elizabeth.
Well, it hit 90, very similar to yesterday. But you're right, Jeff, with those clouds out there this morning, it will keep our temperatures from rising as fast. We're definitely seeing more sunshine in Goldsboro right now, but some clouds in Apex and Chapel Hill. You can see the gray skies here, courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. And in Fayetteville, we're seeing some dappled sunshine there on Hay Street, right in front of our newsroom. We check out what's happening across our area. We're going to start off with the tropics because things are getting a little interesting here. Nothing that is imminent in the next few days, but this area of disturbed weather near Central America could develop into a tropical system. There's a decent chance of that. And then we're watching another wave that could develop here over the Bahamas. We'll take a look at that one first. It's a 30% chance in the next 7 days. We're going to walk you through that on Futurecast, along with this one, which has an even better chance of developing here in the Bay of Campeche, which is the southern part of the Gulf of Mexico. So 60% chance in the next couple of days, 70% chance in the next 7 days. So we'll walk through Futurecast. So we'll take a look at this one first because this one does look like it'll produce a little circulation. Notice by Tuesday, Wednesday, a little bit of a closed circulation starts to form there, and we'll see rain shifting into Texas and Mexico. Right now, this version of Futurecast has that center of circulation moving onshore in Mexico with some rain into Texas. And then we'll keep an eye on this. Right now, it doesn't show up as a closed circulation, but just a wave, so it wouldn't necessarily be a tropical system, but some moisture moves into the east coast, the southeast coast, and we could see at least some additional moisture, if not rain. None of the models are really looking at pushing a lot of rain into our area from this system, but it would definitely bump up our humidity. Right now, showers and thunderstorms are up across parts of the Midwest, but high pressure is going to keep all of that to the west of us indefinitely. For Friday, we're going to see highs climbing into the mid-90s, feeling more like 100. Over the weekend, we get into the potential for some dangerous heat. Upper 90s Saturday and Sunday, feeling like 104 to 106. And that does put us in the heat advisory criteria zone, so we could end up with our first heat advisory of the season over the weekend. We are dry also. Just a small chance of a shower or thunderstorm on Friday, but it's really a minimal chance. And right now we're looking at 15 to 50% of our normal rainfall in the last month. So we are really in need of some rain. Thursday is the first day of summer, signified by that sunshine, and we're going to head into some dangerous heat Saturday and Sunday, Ken.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We continue to monitor a crash that happened in the westbound lanes of I-40 near South Saunders Street. Right now, it's beginning to clear up quite a bit. Just about a half hour ago, it was bumper-to-bumper traffic in that area. Let's go ahead and show you exactly what we're talking about in terms of a live camera. This is I-40 at Hammond Road. You can see traffic moving nicely in both directions, which is good news, especially if you're about to head out this morning. Elsewhere around the triangle, we have a couple of crashes to tell you about this morning. This one on the shoulder of the road, it has it blocked in the eastbound lanes of I-40 that's coming in from Chapel Hill. It's like you said, it's off to the shoulder of the road, but you're seeing the lingering delay there on Highway 55 at I-40 eastbound. You can take Highway 54 as an alternate route if you want to avoid that delay that you're seeing now in those eastbound lanes of I-40. This is on Falls of Noose Road in the southbound lane near Strickland Road. We're not seeing any major issues in that area, but just look for that police activity. Of course, if you're about to head out, you can always listen to WRAL News Plus on the radio at 99.3 FM in Raleigh and 96.5 FM in Durham.
Ken, thank you. The U.S. Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, is calling for tobacco-style warnings on social media platforms. In a New York Times op-ed, he says that the label would be to alert users of potential mental health harms on websites and apps. Now, enforcing a policy like this, he notes, would require congressional action. On Today, just an hour ago, Murthy says that he has heard from hundreds of parents, and a key concern that they have is whether social media is safe for their child.
Crews in California are working to contain several wildfires up and down that state. Ted Lindner takes a look at the damage and recovery efforts as crews hope for calmer conditions with less wind.
Chaotic wildfire activity is putting firefighters and residents across the Golden State on high alert, with strong winds amplifying several weekend blazes.
With the wind, with the heat, with the dry vegetation, we're really up against some challenges, and we're going to continue to fight through it.
In Southern California, north of Los Angeles, crews continued battling flames from the Post Fire. Since sparking Saturday, the inferno has charred more than 14,000 acres and triggered hundreds of evacuations. As of Sunday night, the fire was only 2% contained. This comes as the nearby Max Fire erupted Sunday afternoon in the city of Lancaster. Powerful winds whipping up embers and causing the fire to quickly spread across hundreds of acres. Meanwhile, further north in Sonoma County,
the planes and the helicopters and the trucks, there's a lot of them here.
the Point Fire led to mandatory evacuations and an air quality advisory in the area on Sunday.
I had got a prepared bag and everything from the last fires we've had, but since then it's been calm, so I kind of put everything out. So it was a matter of just put everything together.
This is the Excelsior Fire. Further east in Sacramento County, triggered an all-hands-on-deck response to try and prevent more dry brush from igniting.
We have bulldozers that are continuing to work to build out fire lines around, create additional fire breaks and contingency plans. So if anything does get outside of our containment zone, we have plans, a plan A, B, and contingency to make a stop.
Fire season in California typically lasts until mid-fall.
That was Ted Lindner reporting. Today marks 9 years since 9 people were killed during a shooting at Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. There were people there attending a Bible study at the church on the night of June 17, 2015. A white supremacist carried out the shooting during the final prayer at the end of a Wednesday night Bible study, and he was sentenced to death in 2017. Today at noon, a short service will take place at the church to honor the victims and survivors. A balloon release will happen after.
Police in Massachusetts are working to make an arrest after a shooting that injured 8 people. This happened at about 2 o'clock yesterday morning in the city of Methuen near the New Hampshire border. Police say that a large crowd was gathered for an event organized through social media, and at least 7 people were shot. Another person was injured while trying to get away from the shooting. All the victims are in their late teens and early 20s.
A Domino's driver was shot and robbed while trying to deliver a pizza in Clayton. The call came in around 12:30 Sunday morning. First responders rushed the delivery driver to Wake Med. Police say his injuries, he should be able to recover from them. Police arrested 21-year-old Jalen Moore, charging him in connection with the shooting and robbery. His bond is set at $100,000.
Today, the Johnson County Board of Commissioners will vote on a $364 million budget proposal. That proposed 2024-25 budget is up 3.6% from the current budget. More than $93 million of the budget will go toward Johnson County Public Schools. It also includes raises for all county employees. The vote will happen at the board's meeting tonight at 6 o'clock.
Unsafe levels of bacteria have been found in the Seine River in Paris more than 2 months before the Olympic Games are set to begin. A published report shows during the first 8 days of June, the river had bacteria like E. coli at levels that would be unsafe for athletes to swim in. The report comes after Paris saw a lot of heavy rain there. An International Olympic Committee executive says there are no reason to doubt the races will go on as scheduled. The first event in the Seine will be the men's triathlon. That's July 30th. The river has seen a $1.5 billion investment towards cleanup efforts.
Citrus County, Florida yesterday, leaving behind severe damage. You can see some of the images there on your screen. This is near the Tampa area. According to the sheriff's office, the tornado touched down and destroyed several structures there, but no injuries have been reported.
Sean Diddy Combs has returned New York's key to the city after Mayor Eric Adams requested it back earlier this month. Combs was presented with the key to the city last October. Adams sent a letter to Combs' team asking for the key back after video surfaced of the entertainer physically assaulting his ex-girlfriend in a hotel hallway in 2016. Combs is facing a civil lawsuit related to that incident, and sources say he is also now the subject of a federal investigation. Princess Kate says she is making good progress in her cancer treatment, but stresses that she is not done yet with that treatment. Kate made her first public appearance in months Saturday. She joined her family for a military parade to commemorate the king's official birthday observation. In March, she revealed she's been undergoing treatment for an unspecified form of cancer.
Drivers, just a heads up, Toyota is recalling about 13,000 cars over concerns about a camera defect. Toyota says the cases for the front and the rear view cameras in the 2023 Crown vehicles can get water inside them. They can cause the cameras to malfunction and could increase the risk of hitting people. Toyota says that it will contact owners of recalled cars by August. You can also check Toyota's website to see if your vehicle is on that recall list.
For a lot of area fathers who are also golf fans, the final day of the U.S. Open was the perfect Father's Day gift. Many fathers and sons were among the 50,000 people estimated to be walking through the gates, Pinehurst #2 for the final round. For some, it was also a chance to reflect upon their own fathers.
I grew up on a golf course with my dad, so it's always emotional for me to be around the sport because he can't play anymore. So, you know, you get emotional about those things, but you get to share it with your kids, so it's a beautiful thing.
Pinehurst Resort also shared this emotional video to social media. It shows people calling their dads and leaving a Father's Day message on phones that were placed around the course by the resort.
That's good effort.
So neat.
All right, coming up, a visit to the splash pad turns tragic for some people in Michigan. What we know about the shooting that sent 9 people to the hospital.
Also, we'll get more information today about a plane crash that killed a flight instructor and his student. What we know about that crash near Siler City.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
8:26 is the time on a Monday morning right now. I'm Jeff Hogan. Elizabeth Gardner is over in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now. Clouds in a lot of places. Still pretty comfortable out there.
Yeah, temperatures are mostly in the low to mid 70s right now. We take a live look at Wilson, where we're seeing a bit more sunshine, and the breeze has really picked up. You can see the bushes, the trees moving around, and the whirligigs are really starting to spin. That will help it feel more comfortable today, too, with a little bit of a breeze. 74 in Durham with partly cloudy skies. Same thing here in Fayetteville. We are seeing some clouds hanging around in some places, but it's not going to rain. We're not going to have afternoon thunderstorms. So it makes it a good afternoon to be at the pool. For one, it'll be hot with highs in the low 90s, but we'll also not have any thunderstorms that you have to jump out of the water.
Now in the WRAL Traffic Center, we continue to monitor a crash that's happened on the eastbound lanes of I-40 near Highway 55 and Highway 54. Right now, it's causing a little bit of a slowdown in that area. You can take Highway 54 as an alternate route if you want to avoid I-40 right now. Also, we're monitoring this crash on I-40 westbound near South Saunders Street. That's actually in the clearing phase, not really causing any problems this morning. All the other crashes you see on our sensors this morning really on local roads and not affecting your morning commute at all. The north side of the Beltline, though, we are seeing some brake tapping going on.
One man was hurt in a shooting in a neighborhood near downtown Raleigh. It happened near Heck Street and Jones Street around 1 o'clock this morning. Raleigh police say the man should recover from his injuries. Police do not have anyone in custody yet. Today, the FAA plans to release its preliminary report about this small plane crash near Siler City that killed 2 people on board. State Highway Patrol identified the victims of Friday night's crash as flight instructor McMillan Abernathy of Beach Mountain and his student Justin Strauss of Raleigh. Back with more news on Fox 50.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your #1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Right now at 8:30, an early morning shooting left one man hurt near downtown Raleigh. The arrest police are looking to make.
And this morning, we're sitting at tolerable with our dew point, but we'll start to see that climbing along with temperatures, making for some dangerous heat over the weekend. I'll show you what it'll feel like.
We now know the names of the people who died in a plane crash here near the Siler City Airport. Just ahead, a look at what we're expecting to learn today from an FAA preliminary report.
And UNC and NC State's baseball teams have one last chance to stay in the College World Series. We're getting you the rundown on what teams they're taking on and their elimination brackets. Fingers, toes, everything just tied this morning so that they have a chance to win there. Be pretty exciting if both teams manage to make it there, though.
They're in a precarious position right now.
Thanks for joining us this morning here on WRAL News and Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Thanks for making us part of your day here. Our Monday's getting started with some clouds out there. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. They're trying to throw some water on that course. They let it dry out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost see it looks a little bit on the brown side. I mean, they do an amazing job, I think, at every golf course of keeping all that grass looking beautiful all summer. But yeah, they definitely have the water going on the lawn there. We desperately need some rain. I'll show you what our potential is for that coming up. 74 right now in the Triangle. Our dew point 64, so we're still holding it in the tolerable side. And I know they're going to be doing a lot of straightening up, cleaning up there in Pinehurst after the U.S. Open. Our temperatures are mostly in the mid-70s right now. As you step out the door, it'll be mid-80s by lunchtime and a high of 90, which will feel very similar to what we saw yesterday. But over the weekend, we're going to see much much hotter conditions and higher humidity. I'll show you what it'll feel like with the heat index coming up. Ken?
Smith at 8:31, all new into the WRAL Traffic Center. We just got reports of over in Durham County area, this crash in the northbound lanes of US 70 this morning, near northbound I-85 this morning. You can see the bumper-to-bumper traffic that's being caused by this crash there on Highway 70 on Interstate 85. That's coming, of course, in the northbound lanes. Keep that in mind. If you know somebody who's traveling to the Triangle right now from maybe the Greensboro area, just let them know there's a bit of a slowdown as you get close to our area. Over in Chapel Hill, we're monitoring this crash right now in the westbound lane of Chapel Hill Road and Hampton Woods Lane. Not causing any major problems in the area, but just keep that in mind if you're about to head out. Elsewhere around the Triangle, things around the Beltline really are beginning to clear up really nicely. And of course, in Durham, I-885 north and southbound lanes, just a little bit of brake tapping going on at this hour.
WRAL is following a developing story near downtown Raleigh. A man was hurt during a shooting. Police were at the scene near Jones Street just after 1 o'clock this morning, and WRAL's Heidi Kirk is at the Raleigh Police Department this morning. Heidi, this happened shockingly close to the police department.
That shooting happened just blocks away from the Raleigh Police Department where we're standing. We were there early in the morning and captured this video of about a dozen police officers on the scene. What we know so far is that one adult male was shot. That person has non-life-threatening injuries. Now, Raleigh police confirmed there's no suspect in custody at this time, but they are continuing to investigate. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News in Raleigh.
We expect to learn more today about what caused a plane crash in Chatham County that killed 2 people. This crash happened near Siler City on Friday. As WRAL's Laura Levine explains, a flight instructor and his student died in the crash.
We are here at the Siler City Airport where that NTSB investigation is well underway, but that could take several months. However, today we are expecting the FAA to release its preliminary report that could share what may have caused that plane to come down here near the airport. I want you to take a look at the Sky 5 video where you can see the crash site. Emergency crews found the Piper PA-28140 on fire in the woods near the Siler City Airport early Friday afternoon. Yesterday, State Highway Patrol identified the victims as flight instructor McMillan Abernathy and student Justin Strauss. Abernathy was a certified flight instructor for Raleigh Exec. This comes as several plane crashes have happened in North Carolina in recent months, all involving smaller aircraft. The FAA preliminary report is expected to be released at some point today. This is a story that we will continue to follow and bring you the latest as we learn more about how investigators are piecing this together. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Siler City.
Today, Boom Supersonic's jet building facility is set to open in North Carolina. It is located at Piedmont Triad Airport in Greensboro. A ribbon-cutting ceremony will mark the occasion, and Governor Roy Cooper will be there. In 2022, he announced a $500 million investment from the company. It's expected to bring about 2,400 jobs to the region. Average pay for those jobs just shy of $70,000 a year. Cooper plans to speak at today's ceremony, which gets started at 11 this morning.
A local landmark in Johnston County is recovering from a devastating fire. Smith's Farm Market in Benson lost a large part of his business. That's because of a fire destroying a barn filled with farm equipment and the nursery offices. The fire started at the farm on Sanders Road around 3 o'clock yesterday morning. Crews from more than a dozen fire companies responded to this. The business owners say that they're now focusing on the cleanup effort. And we're told their popular market, garden, and ice cream shack were not damaged in this. They're still open to customers.
A man drowned while fishing with friends at Jordan Lake over the weekend. Authorities say he waded out into the water and then disappeared. Chatham County Sheriff's Office identified the victim as 25-year-old Pradeep Bujel. He was in town with friends from Charlotte. It's the 4th drowning WRAL has reported at Jordan Lake in the last year. Chatham County Sheriff's Office recommends people wear a life jacket while in Jordan Lake or any other body of water. They also say you should swim only in designated areas. Supervise children closely and be aware of water conditions and your surroundings.
2 people are out of a home after a fire on Pony Road in Zebulon. Firefighters were called out to that house at around 12:30 yesterday afternoon. No one was injured, and the cause of the fire, that's still being investigated. The winner of this year's U.S. Open Championship at Pinehurst #2 is Bryson DeChambeau. It is his 2nd U.S. Open Championship. DeChambeau celebrated with fans after the tournament. See him there walking through the crowd. He took his trophy there just to share that moment with them. And he beat Rory McIlroy by a single stroke to claim the championship. His other U.S. Open win was in 2020 in New York, and there weren't any fans there because of the pandemic at the time.
Several local golfers made the cut at this year's U.S. Open, including Wake Forest's Akshay Bhatia. He finished the championship tied for 16th.
Type of golf course and this type of test makes you, hit shots so you don't hit typical. At tour events normally we have softer greens and bigger margin for errors. This week it's small margins and can get away from you pretty quick.
It was a big payday, too. The U.S. Open offered a record-shattering $21.5 million purse this year. Some of the bigger payouts, Bryson DeChambeau with the winning share, $4.3 million. Rory McIlroy got $2.3 million. Tony Finau and Patrick Cantlay each got $1.2 million.
Goldsboro police say that they have arrested a man who stole an ambulance at UNC Health Wayne. Police say that the suspect drove the ambulance into UNC Health Wayne's front parking lot. This happened Saturday night. Investigators say that the suspect hit a Goldsboro police patrol vehicle on purpose. He then stopped the ambulance and then officers arrested him. The man faces assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill, among other charges.
NC State baseball is playing to stay alive in the College World Series. Wolfpack in the elimination bracket after losing to Kentucky 5-4 Saturday. They'll play Florida at 1 o'clock this afternoon in Omaha, and the loser of that game will go home. UNC also finds itself in the elimination bracket. The Tar Heels lost last night to Tennessee 6-1. The team has to lose twice to be knocked out of the College World Series opening round, so UNC will try to avoid that when they play Florida State in an elimination game tomorrow.
Today we'll be watching the Team USA swim trials to see if someone from the Triangle has a trip to Paris in their future. Cary native Claire Curzan came in fourth during yesterday's women's 100-meter butterfly final. The top two swimmers make it to the Olympic team, so she didn't make the cut, not in that event. She does still have her top event, backstroke. That race is happening today. Kyler Ponsler from NC State finished 6th in the men's 400 individual medley final, not making the team for that event either. The Olympic swimming trials actions continues through Sunday, and you can watch all of that excitement over on WRAL.
Days of rainfall has created some problems for people in Florida. Hear from one man who struggled to get to work because of all that flooding.
And theater fans had a lot to be buzzing about during this year's Tony Awards. The performance that people are talking about and the big award winners.
It's going to heat up this morning as you take a live look at Lake Gaston this morning. And that is like glass out there on the pond. Elizabeth Gardner will tell us the humidity levels that we're expecting this week.
It's 8:43, and we take a live look at North Hills. A lot of gray clouds hanging above us, and even though it looks a little bit ominous, we're not likely to see any rain out of these clouds today. The one thing that these clouds are doing for us is keeping our temperatures from climbing quite as quickly this morning. Still, we'll see plenty of sunshine this afternoon, and temperatures will climb up to around 90 degrees. Right now, it is 74 in the Triangle. We have a fairly light southeast wind at 3 miles per hour. It'll be a little bit breezy this afternoon just as we start to heat things up. We'll climb to 85 by lunchtime, and then into the low 90s by the middle of the afternoon. Checking out our weather watcher, a beautiful photo from Joe Hedrick, Emerald Isle. Look at that gorgeous sunset there. We would love to see your weather watcher photos too. Go to WRAL.com and search weather watchers, and we'll put your photos on TV. 90 degrees this afternoon in Raleigh, 89 in Durham, and 91 in Fayetteville. So definitely hot, but our humidity stays moderate. Right now we're sitting at 64, which keeps us just in the tolerable zone. We may creep up to steamy a little bit the next day or two, but we're going to keep it below tropical when our dew points make it all the way up into the 70s, at least for a little while. Once we get into Friday and Saturday, we start to see those numbers climbing considerably, and that's going to make it feel even hotter. We get that dew point up at around 70, and it feels like somebody threw a wet blanket over your head. The green shaded areas here are where it's a bit more humid. Watch how that moves back past the mountains and on up to our north. And so we dry out potentially a little bit over the next couple of days, but then we're going to see a wave of moisture headed our way. This is Thursday at 5 p.m. We get into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we're going to see that wave moving on in. And that's going to help to contribute to the potential of some dangerous heat this weekend, especially Saturday and Sunday. The heat index could easily be over 100 degrees. We take a look at our heat risk map, and this is a new product from the National Weather Service that we'll be sharing with you all season. So we have moderate to major heat risk on Saturday. In the red shaded areas is where the heat index could be up to 105. And we'll take a look at Sunday, and it's even more widespread. As a matter of fact, there are a few pockets right around the triangle where we could see more extreme heat risk. So heat index at 105 again in that red shaded area, and that covers a good bit of the viewing area on Sunday. We look past Sunday, and we have above normal temperatures in the forecast all the way into the middle of next week. Thursday is the first day of summer, so we are going to see these very hot conditions to kick off early summer. We'll see temperatures in the upper 90s again. With the heat index, we could end up seeing our first heat advisory of the year. Keep following to we'll let you know when that gets posted, if it does.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, Russian President Vladimir Putin will visit North Korea tomorrow for a 2-day visit. He is expected to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. This is amid international concerns about their military cooperation. It'll be Putin's first trip to North Korea in 24 years. There are growing concerns about an arms arrangement between the two countries to fuel Putin's war in Ukraine in exchange for economic assistance and technology transfers. Putin has continuously sought to rebuild ties with North Korea.
Thanks for watching that, Michelle. Police in Michigan say at least 9 people were shot in what appears to be a random shooting. This happened at a crowded recreational area in Rochester Hills. This happened Saturday afternoon. An 8-year-old boy and his 4-year-old brother are among the victims in this. The suspect is 42-year-old Michael William Nash. He was found dead with an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound at a nearby home. Police say that he has no prior criminal history, and as of this morning, 2 of the victims are listed as critical condition and 7 are unstable.
The Israeli military announced it plans to pause its offensive along a route in southern Gaza so humanitarian aid can pass through. It's a tactical pause that'll last from 8 a.m. through 7 p.m. every day until further notice. The military says the pause was decided on after discussions with the UN and international aid agencies. Fighting will continue in the rest of southern Gaza.
Durham police are investigating a homicide after a body was found on the side of a road. A driver reported a person lying on the side of Wrightwood Avenue around 12:30 yesterday morning. Now, when investigators got there, they found the man was shot from several different gunshot wounds and was dead. An investigation is underway after a fire at a camping trailer in Cumberland County. You're looking at video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. Look at the damage that this caused. Fire officials tell us that at least one person was airlifted to the hospital, but no word just yet on how they're doing this morning. The call first came in as an explosion. Several units responded to this scene, but no word yet on a cause for this.
Families in Arizona are struggling with the aftermath of the Rose Fire. The flames sparked about 50 miles north of Phoenix Wednesday, quickly engulfed more than 200 acres. The wildfire also destroyed 15 structures, including 7 homes. Dozens of fire crews battled the flames, along with family members who tried to save their homes. Many say they just grabbed what they could.
The cat and my mom's ashes, and he got the clothes on his back and a few other personal items.
No injuries have been reported, and the cause of the fire has not been determined.
After days of heavy rainfall and storms, people who live near Miami are finally able to clean this up. Water that made its way into people's homes is receding, leaving behind items that are just soaking wet. Crews work to drain busy streets and unclog storm drains and flooded parking lots.
It was crazy because at the end of the day, I couldn't leave. I couldn't go to work. My wife couldn't go to work. Nobody couldn't go to work. I had to park 2 blocks away. And it was devastating. I'm just lucky that the water did not go inside my house.
The rain started Tuesday and caused vehicles to break down. The National Weather Service issued a rare flash flood emergency in addition to several flash flood warnings and street flood advisories.
Dozens of people spent about 30 minutes suspended, upside down, stuck right there at a ride at an Oregon amusement park that was broken. This happened Friday afternoon at the Oaks Amusement Park in Portland. 8 people were left stranded in the air on that Atmosphere ride. The park said first responders were contacted immediately, and within minutes the ride was lowered and those guests were able to get off safely. The ride will remain closed until further notice.
More than 175,000 convictions for possession of marijuana may be wiped out today. The Washington Post reports Maryland's governor is expected to issue the pardons today. The action would forgive every misdemeanor charge for marijuana possession as well as related charges. Maryland legalized the use of recreational marijuana in 2022.
The FAA is investigating after a Southwest Airlines flight plunged toward the ocean near Hawaii. The incident happened April 11th, and it came to light Friday after Bloomberg reported Southwest sent a memo to pilots. Flight tracking data shows the Boeing 737 MAX 8 dropped at a rate of more than 4,000 feet a minute. At one point, it flew as low as 400 feet before then rapidly climbing again. According to Bloomberg, the memo indicated a newer first officer was flying at the time and inadvertently pushed forward on the control column.
The Outsiders is the big winner at this year's Tony Awards. The adaptation of the 1983 movie took home the honor of Best Musical. Daniel Radcliffe also had a pretty big night. The former Harry Potter star won the award for featured actor in a musical for his role in Merrily We Roll Along. And Angelina Jolie is celebrating her first Tony Award. She was one of the producers of The Outsiders, which won Best Musical. She is now halfway to an EGOT. She won an Oscar back in 1999 for Girl Interrupted.
There's a surprise performance at the Tony Awards. There's a lot of folks talking this morning. Jay-Z joined Alicia Keys on stage to sing Empire State of Mind. Big night for Keys. Her semi-autobiographical musical Hell's Kitchen won 2 awards.
The U.S. Open at Pinehurst #2 was a memorable one, but one of the sport's top stars may want to forget it. Rory McIlroy missed 2 short putts on the 16th and 18th holes to let his lead slip away. He ended up losing to Bryson DeChambeau by just a single stroke. Now, as you watch DeChambeau finish up from the clubhouse, see that right there? Dejected look on the face, leaving the course quickly without speaking to the media. In honor for Nicole Kidman and some iconic movie props auditioned for thousands of dollars. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nicole Kidman.
It's Nicole Kidman's big night. The 49th AFI Life Achievement Award, a tribute to Nicole Kidman, airs tonight on TNT. The Oscar-winning actress is the first Australian performer so honored by the American Film Institute. Some iconic movie props went for big bucks at the latest Tinseltown auction. Hollywood legends Danger, Disaster, and Disco saw the illuminated dance floor from Saturday Night Fever top the auction, selling for $325,000. An original Ark of the Covenant prototype from Raiders of the Lost Ark went for more than $101,000. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman costume brought in more than $114,000, her tiara $76,000, and her bracelets of submission $91,000. Julianne's Auctions and Turner Classic Movies put more than 1,300 items on the block for the event. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Inside Out has Hollywood upside down after upending expectations for an opening weekend. Inside Out 2, the sequel to the 2015 animated movie about the inner workings of a young girl's mind, brought in $155 million in its domestic opening box office weekend. It was estimated to make only about $90 million. It is the second biggest 3-day weekend all time for an animated film. Inside Out 2 also took in $140 million overseas.
The developers of the popular board game Settlers of Catan are releasing a new version touching on the effect of climate change. In Catan, New Energies players choose between renewable energy and fossil fuel-based power plants. Fossil fuels may allow a player's society to grow faster, but they will also create more pollution, which will cause problems. The game's developers hope it will show how society can transition to more sustainable energy.
All right, before we head off to break, here are your winning lottery numbers on your screen right now. We'll get another check on weather and traffic for you up next.